VinFast is employing a unique approach for its break into India. Vietnam's largest automaker has already burned billions trying to break into the US and European markets. Now, it's decided India will be its last shot at redemption. But its play is unlike every other global automaker that swoops into cities like Mumbai with glass showrooms and glossy marketing. Instead, VinFast is starting with car workshops. And even more surprisingly, they're focusing on workshops in Coimbatore, Shimla, and other tier 2 towns. An EV executive the Ken spoke to says that VinFast is basically flipping the regular playbook on its head. Instead of asking showrooms to open service centers, it's asking service centers to sell cars. And right now, most of its 27 dealerships are located in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Now, one of the company's dealer representatives said that this is because metro cities are already crowded, with dealerships from Tata, Mahindra, Hyundai, and MG. Basically, the real gap is in smaller cities, and that's where VinFast wants to fit in. For VinFast, addressing this gap is a matter of urgency. In 2024, the automaker posted more than $3 billion in losses. That's not the sort of number that allows for a careful wait and watch expansion. My colleague, the Ken reporter Keshav, spoke to Deb Mukherjee, the former managing director of Omega Seiki or OSM, an electric three-wheeler company. His opinion is that VinFast's India pivot is crucial, and that means it has to cut friction wherever it can in the Indian market. The thing is, India's EV market is still small. Only about 4 out of every 100 cars that are sold is an EV. But it's also scaling rapidly. In 2020, about 4,000 EVs were sold. But by 2024, that is within 4 years, Niti Aayog reported that that number was 40 times higher, close to 160,000. Policymakers are also all for this growth. They want electrification to hit 30% by 2030. But initial market friction aside, the other challenge for VinFast is local incumbents like Tata Motors and Mahindra, who already own more than half the market. Other foreign entrants like MG Motor have also climbed to number 2 in just 6 years. So basically, VinFast has to change up its game majorly. For the sales of its first two SUV models, the VF6, which is priced at 16 lakh rupees, and VF7 that sells for 25 lakh rupees, the company is leaning on multi-brand workshops that usually just repair cars. Pham Shang Chao, VinFast Asia CEO, said that VinFast considers India a key growth market, where awareness of sustainability is growing alongside the demand for cost-effective solutions. So, there's two ways this could go. In a market where Ford and GM already fled because they couldn't deal with market competition, VinFast moves could be genius. Or it could be digging itself a deeper grave. Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from The Ken. I'm your host, Rachel Verghese, and every day of the week, my co-host Snigdha Sharma and I will bring you one new story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of September. VinFast is basically reimagining dealership. It's not competing directly with Tata and Mahindra's sprawling dealer networks. Instead, it's partnering with MyTVS, a car accessories brand, and RoadGrid, a mobility solution provider, to create 240 SSS, which is sales, service, and spare parts centers across the country. Here's how it works. Workshops pay a 21 lakh rupees franchisee fee and stock VinFast display and demo cars. For this, a workshop owner in Delhi NCR told us they earn a 3% sales commission. The EV executive who we spoke to earlier said that it's a well thought out plan, pointing out that MyTVS already runs 1,000 service centers across 400 cities. Part of the plan to reduce friction is also VinFast's positioning of Pham Shang Chao as the Asia CEO. He was formerly Vietnam's ambassador to India. VinFast hired him in August 2023, hoping that connections from his past life would help the company navigate bureaucratic hurdles here. Chow believes that customers in India want affordability, reliability, and strong after-sales support, along with the latest technology. That's why VinFast isn't just launching products. It's also building an ecosystem with charging, service, and customer-friendly touchpoints. But this plan isn't without its skeptics. We spoke to Prabhakar Kadapa, an auto industry veteran, who told my colleague Keshav that customers typically do not buy cars from workshops. Basically, a workshop runs the risk of feeling more like a greasy garage than a premium showroom. And if premium showrooms are what customers are expecting, VinFast's credibility could take a serious hit. Plans to avoid this result are already in motion, though. RoadGrid co founder Shashank Narayan claims that strict SOPs will prevent that. He said outlets will feature VinFast branding and customer lounges with trained mechanics using authorized tools and spares. Servicing, which is often a pain point for EV owners, will be prioritized with two dedicated bays per outlet, and key parts will be kept in stock thanks to demand forecasting. But there's more to the Tier 2 and Tier 3 focus. As per JMK research, between FY22 and FY25, EV penetration in smaller towns increased by about 7%. Along with this boom in adoption, there are other practical reasons. Narayan explained that in a small city, a car might travel 200 kilometers at most, and you can easily do that on half a battery and just one overnight charge. The challenge, however, is price. VinFast SUVs sit firmly in the premium bracket. Kadapa believes a focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3 is risky without a very affordable product. That is something under 6 lakh rupees. For example, Tata dominates smaller cities with EVs that cost less than 15 lakh rupees, which made up nearly 70% of its sales in early 2024. Still, VinFast is betting that rising middle class families in places like Surat and Pune will trade up. The plan is to attract them with bigger batteries, longer ranges, and the status of being early adopters. Its SUVs boast some of the largest batteries in their segment and are aimed at buyers who value range over raw power. Deb Mukherjee, the ex OSM MD, argued that this could be VinFast's edge. He pointed out that Ford and GM failed in India because they focused on power. VinFast, on the other hand, is going all in on EVs. And that is exactly what could be its moat. For now, curiosity is high. Even before the first rollout, VinFast has already logged 8,000 pre bookings, mostly from smaller city early adopters willing to test this experiment. But this isn't their only unique play in India. More on this in the next segment. It's not just the service centers doubling as sellers play that's VinFast's strategy for India. Its charging strategy also seems like an unusual take. Most automakers in India partner with established charge point operators like Tata Power, ChargeZone, or Static. VinFast is skipping all of them. A person close to developments told Keshav that VinFast has instead spoken to VGreen. VGreen is a company 90% owned by VinFast founder Pham Nhat Vuong to build a parallel charging network in India. The deal is yet to be finalized though. You see, in Vietnam, VGreen already runs more than 150,000 charging ports, and it plans to replicate a similar scale in India. The plan is quite ambitious. 5,000 touchpoints spanning home chargers, workshop stations, and public charging units. These range from slow chargers for at home use to fast ones for the highway, which will cover 2, 3, and 4 wheelers. The same person close to these developments also said that all EVs will be able to use VGreen stations. But VinFast drivers will likely get discounts. So, while the network won't be exclusive, they will be preferential. On top of this, VinFast will also launch an app that lists both VGreen and third party stations, though payments at non VGreen outlets will still require separate apps. Now, the upside is obvious. VinFast gets tighter control over customer experience and quicker tweaks to match local needs. An executive at a rival automaker said that they will be able to regulate the offerings much faster and be quicker to adapt to the market. On the other hand, there's also an obvious downside: money. Pulkit Lodha, Senior Business Development Manager at Static, warned that setting up a charger requires huge capital investment. He gave the example of BlueSmart Charge, an app launched by the ride sharing firm BlueSmart to help EV users locate charging stations. Its attempt to scale ultimately collapsed under the weight of infrastructure costs. Mukherjee elaborated on this, saying that you basically need a huge capex on infrastructure. That includes land, building, electric lines, etc. Essentially, it becomes a real estate play with complicated state level bylaws, and that takes time and resources to sort out. But the Indian government is pushing for EV adoption, and that could help VinFast in these developments. Stay tuned. The Indian government is pushing hard to accelerate EV adoption. So, VinFast's bet isn't really happening in a vacuum. Under the 2025 scheme to promote manufacturing of electric passenger cars, automakers are being nudged to build locally, while the PLI scheme offers direct rewards for hitting production targets. But the push isn't just about domestic demand. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in August itself, highlighted India's aim to export EVs to over 100 countries. For foreign automakers like VinFast, that means India is both a growth market and a potential export hub. Let's not forget VinFast's staggering losses. So, India is where the turnaround has to begin. VinFast has already committed $2 billion to the country, including a $500 million plant in Tamil Nadu capable of producing 150,000 cars a year. Chow added that for subsequent phases, VinFast will allocate resources progressively, keeping in alignment with market growth and evolving customer demand. The company has even patented new Green Line models, lined up e-scooters and e-buses, and positioned itself to launch a new EV every 6 months. It finally comes down to this. To dodge the graveyard of foreign flops in India, VinFast is betting on its speed, audacity, Vingroup's billions, and a new distribution model. So, if Indian buyers embrace it like they once did Japanese and Korean brands, it lives to fight another day. If not, after its initial failure in the US, India will bury its global ambitions once more.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription offers daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the Ken website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Rachel Varghese and edited by Rajiv Sien.